Um, so this session is about easy bake accessible videos. No cost options for adding, posting, and downloading captions. My name's CJ Frosch. I work at UCSF as a digital engagement strategist and curator. When you go to tell everyone how great this presentation was, you can use they or he pronouns for me and click on the pronounce link if you'd like to listen to a recording of how to say my name. These are great tools for using and seeing email signatures. This deck hopefully will be available to you on the UC Tech website, and you're also welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or email after the presentation too. I'll be checking the Q&A periodically with our facilitators. In advance, thanks for your patience on this platform. I do have a small hearing loss, so I will be trying to listen in really well and looking with my eyes sometimes more than my ears. We have a very simple agenda for our 45 minutes today. We're going to look at barriers and goals to captioning videos. Then I'm going to share 3 common pitfalls I see for those attempting to caption their videos. And finally, showcase 4 tools that you can use without breaking the bank to caption your videos. Looking at our poll results, I hope you'll find some validation over shared experiences, as well as some resources that are going to help you in captioning those town hall videos, Zoom recorded meetings, and other marketing pursuits that you have for accessible consumption. So a large theme of UC Tech this year is making accessibility a priority. Many of us have moved to virtual meetings and training due to the COVID pandemic, but we're still struggling with how to post accessible videos. Recording meetings and e-learning is here to stay in a lot of ways. So how can we continue to support people with our caption videos? It's always good, I think, to start and ground in the why of what we're doing. So let's kick this off with looking at typical barriers and goals of captioning videos. So the first big question is why? Why are we doing this? And I'm guessing since you're here, I don't need to tell you why captioning is important, but not only are we charged as a public institution and public institutions to follow legal requirements for the 50% of the population that has a disability, but we're also committed to doing the right thing. We want to provide accessibility for our diversity, equity, and inclusion values. Our users and learners get more out of our material when they can read those captions. And it helps them find and navigate our video resources. Search engines can't crawl video, but they can crawl text. So captioning provides a written representation of your audio towards making it easier for search engines to categorize and promote your video content. And finally, it boosts our reputation and capacity to reach those audiences that we want to consume our products, whether you're marketing or whether you're doing higher education. If you've ever had to watch a video where the sound audio quality was not optimal, or maybe you're traveling home right now from the conference, watching in a noisy environment like a car or a coffee shop, if you've ever watched a movie with subtitles in another language to help you learn it, those of us who are deaf and hard of hearing are not the only ones who use subtitles. And in fact, according to this pre-apply survey, 50% of Americans use subtitles most of the time. Whether or not you have a physical disability, a cognitive disorder, sustain a temporary injury, or are one of the statistically probable people who will be disabled at some point in your life, we know that universal design makes life easier for everyone, and accessible designs result in a better product for all of your users. So, a little bit about benefits in higher education specifically. There is a ton of really great research indicating how captions benefit our work. If you have a moment to review the deck later, our UC Tech friends on site at EduCase have this great article linked at the bottom. And of course, top of mind is that captions provide equal access and opportunities for individuals with hearing disabilities. Captions also help the literacy rate for those whose first language is not English to fully understand key concepts, especially when we're dealing in technical subjects. And whether or not you're on the spectrum of physical or cognitive disability, captions help learners focus better and retain more information. Many students use captions, transcripts, and other videos and metadata to navigate the part of the video that matters to them most. They use it to boost their review and study sessions with transcripts. And at the end of the day, when we make education more inclusive and effective with universal design, we improve learning outcomes and engagement. All that said, we know it's important. We're here. We have so many great accessibility allies, but we still struggle with making those captions happen, don't we? I've heard some of the same barriers against doing accessibility work over and over again, and demystifying some of these misconceptions is actually what motivated me to put this presentation together. So 5 common statements I've heard and support for empowering your accessibility work in response. Number 1, oh, we don't have the budget or staff time to devote to just transcribing every word of every video. I'm sure you've heard this one. Luckily, there are multiple no-cost services that will automatically computer generate those captions for you. You can have it going on in the background of your computer while you're checking your email, so that you don't have to do all of that work and spend a dime on it. A second thing that I've heard is most of our customers don't actually need or want captions. And we know that that's actually untrue. Captions, as you saw from the earlier statistic, are enjoyed by half of Americans, not only your deaf and hard of hearing clients. Regardless, captions widen your reach, they increase audience engagement, and they improve search engine optimization. A third thing that I hear is that, oh, but aren't those kind of disengaging or ugly? And I've seen them actually block video content. And it's quite the opposite is actually true. Captions can actually enrich the video viewing experience. In many cases, we have options to turn the captions off if we don't want to have them there. You have many resources to be able to move subtitles locations around the screen, as well as customize font, size, color, and shape. Did you know that if, I assume that we have live transcription on for this event, you can actually move that live transcript subtitle that you are seeing in Zoom right now. All you have to do is click and drag it around. You can put it on my forehead if you like. Televisions and some of the captioning tools I'll be showing you today provide options to customize that font, color, size, shape, and more. Number 4, there are no real consequences for leaving out captions. Why do we even bother with this? And that is definitely not true. UCs can and do face lawsuits, complaints, and letters for inaccessible content. Lack of accessibility really disengages our community. It damages our reputation. It's not in alignment with our values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Publicly, one of our own UCs is in litigation with the Department of Justice. All UCs have received accessibility complaints, whether it's a letter or a student filing concern. And number 5, well, I don't know how to caption a video. I'm not a technical expert. Don't worry, you're not alone, and captioning is surprisingly fast and easy to do, thanks to some helpful tools that we're going to go over during this presentation. Everyone who I've shown one of these tools with has commented on how fast and easy it was to learn, and I hope that's your experience today too. So legally and design-wise, we have 4 main goals when it comes to captioning. Number 1 is we want it to be accurate. We want whatever is said and spoken is reflected in the dialogue on text. Number 2, we want it to be synchronous. That means that when the thing is happening on the spoken words on the screen, that they're displayed at the same time and at a speed that people can read them. The third thing that we want to do is make sure it's complete. So the beginning to the end of that video, of that program, has all relevant information from A to B, A to Z. And number 4, properly placed. So we don't want the subtitles to block anything, be overlapping or run off the edge of the video, or be obscured by other visuals. So those are our main goals when it comes to captioning, at least legally as well as design-wise. As a fun aside, if you think this is dry or don't think there's any glory in this work, I recommend Googling Stranger Things, the television show's subtitle writers, who had a lot of press and social media attention for their creativity, writing some really immersive feeling text for their horror show. I specifically remember when I was watching it with subtitles, laughing that the big bad guy that you see pictured here with the caption, "Tentacles squelching wetly." So let's move on to some common pitfalls. If you're just getting started with this work, I've seen 3 things happen pretty commonly or accessibility allies that you want to look out for before you go into doing this work. A lot of people mistakenly assume, number 1, especially if they've had live transcription on during their Zoom webinar or use tools like Otter AI, that the Zoom recording file kept those captions in a nice little package for you to send to those who missed the meeting. And unfortunately, that's not the case. If you do happen to have that downloaded text file, your administrators or users would have to manually combine that Zoom video file with that text file in order for those captions to show. So don't make the mistake of your Zoom meeting thinking your Zoom recording files are automatically accessible. You could see a screenshot of if you were to go to play this, there wouldn't be captions. You'd have to choose the subtitle file and have access to that text file in order for that to work. So Zoom webinar recordings do not auto-integrate play captions. A second tactic that I see accessibility allies attempt to caption videos is what's called burning in captions, or basically making text part of the video itself. It's just a favored tool to do this with Adobe Premiere Pro. Unfortunately, burned in captions are not actually as accessible because a user can't turn off the captions in case they find them distracting, such as if they have a cognitive impairment or preference, or if it goes over part of the video that you need to see. You can't change the font size, color, position, or background if you burn in text to a video. You also can't search the captions for the text because it's basically a video of text. Essentially. So the best practice is not to burn in text. The best practice is to create and edit text files, which then can be uploaded into more common video systems like Kaltura, YouTube, or Articulate. So don't fall into that burned in captions trap. Those are not as accessible. Number 3 common mistake I see is that even if you generated captions such that they are showing on the video, you still need to review those captions for text to make sure that there are accurate words, numbers, and punctuation. So the computer generation is not always accurate to what has been spoken, especially when it comes to spelling. Numbers, punctuation, and capitalization. I've shown some funny captions examples, such as the one you see on the screen where you see a swimmer and the computer generated caption has said, "It has been my dream since I was a little buoy," like the flotation device, not the person who probably meant to say boy. And these are pretty common mistakes that, unless you actually review it as a person, will go through those computer generated captioning transcriptions. And of course, these are funny and anecdotal, but incorrect caption can actually cause some pretty intense misunderstandings, embarrassment, and even danger. No one wants to see their name spelled incorrectly. Nobody wants wrongly recorded numbers. That could mean the difference between an overbaked oven temperature or deadly medicinal doses, right? So we want to be really careful about reviewing those captions before we go push them to publish. There are even some users with disabilities who claim that they would rather have no captions than distractingly wrong auto-generated captions, just to relay the importance of reviewing and editing these for accuracy. We don't want to rely on that computer to auto-generate the right words. Happily, all the systems that I'm showcasing to you today are going to provide easy mechanisms for you to review and make really quick and easy updates to those auto-generated captions. All right. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, 4 no-cost options for adding, posting, and downloading captions. A lovely grid for you, and I'll show this handy grid again towards the end of the presentation, but we're going to showcase each one of these products on individual slides with a look at the back end, as well as the links to instructional videos and any relevant additional pricing information. All of these 4 are well-known, trusted, tried and true, big name brands, so you don't have to worry about spam or downloading viruses in order to use them. When we use them, they all basically work the same way. The simple steps of 1, you log in or create an account if you don't already have one. 2, you upload your video file that you want captioned. It does take a minute for it to load. And then in 3, in most cases, those systems are just going to automatically generate those captions for you right away. Some of you might have to click generate captions. Note that this does not happen instantaneously, and the features won't be available until the transcription is complete. So it usually takes about half the length of the video that you uploaded. So if you upload a 1-hour video, you may have to wait about a half an hour before that captioning and transcription and buttons will work. So grab a cup of coffee, check your email while that process is for you in the background. Once done, as as we talked about, make sure to review those captions, edit the captions for accuracy, make sure it says boy and not buoy. And then number 4, then you have a lot of great options to share and use features to enjoy your freshly captioned transcripts. You can post and embed those on some of these video sites directly. You can download the captions file from them to use with other systems that you prefer instead. You can also share and caption videos publicly, privately, or with tailored audiences. So let's start with YouTube. YouTube is definitely the one that has the most green check marks of all of them. You can auto-generate captions with them. Actually, as soon as you upload your video, it will start doing it for you. You can post and embed videos on YouTube itself. You can edit those captions once you have generated them. You can download a captions file, and you can upload your own captions file if you have your own or want to edit it in a different way. You can also protect the content with privacy. You can make a link that is only available to those who you send that specific link to, instead of having it be searchable on YouTube. You could also just make it public, as it would be searchable on YouTube. And each one of these slides, I have this grid. I have links to YouTube help and more instructional options for you. Once you've uploaded it, you can edit those captions. You can edit the actual wording. You can change the captioning. You can change the capitalization, the periods, the spellings of everything. You can also look at the different timing markers. So again, we want these things to be synchronous, right? So each one of these captions is going to be associated with a certain point in the video that you can update and edit as needed. When you download this captions file, this and most of the systems that I'm telling you will be what's called a VTT file, which means that it associates those captions with a particular timestamp in the video. So you can even download that file from YouTube and plug it into your, Articulate 360 courses. You can plug it into other systems that you're using to have timed caption synchronous videos. You can download a VTT or an SRT photo. That's another type of timed caption file that you can use with other systems too. So YouTube, very well known, a really big name out there in video. And so of course they have a lot of really user-friendly, intuitive options for you and support as well. The second one I wanted to tell you about was Microsoft Stream. And this is one that I think is really underutilized at our organization. So if you have a Microsoft 365 subscription, so you are using Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Outlook, all those, and most of our organizations at UC do have access to a Microsoft 365. You automatically have access to Microsoft Stream. It's free. It is a video management system that just like Excel for managing your spreadsheets, you can use this for managing your videos. This includes auto-generating captions. This includes posting and embedding videos if you want to embed them on a website. You can edit those captions very easily in Microsoft Stream, as you can see I'm doing right here. You can download that VTT captions file if you want to get those timed captions and upload them as a Word document or VTT into other systems. You can upload your own captions file if you have your own preferred file mechanism for making captions. You can also have protected content this way. There's Microsoft login required. There's single sign-on integration with Microsoft Stream. It's a really great way to share, especially protected data videos within your organization that also integrates well with Microsoft Teams and other sharing and group ownership collaboration opportunities. So that is Microsoft Stream. You do have to have a paid Microsoft 365 subscription in order to use this. So if your university does not already have that, then unfortunately you would need access to it. But otherwise, Stream is included in your 365 subscription with all the bells and whistles, and it's a really beautifully intuitive system that I highly recommend. The third one that I wanted to tell you about is Vimeo. Vimeo is a pretty big name in video production, not quite as big as YouTube, but it is out there, and a lot of folks like to use it because you have some extra options as professionals to do things like put in your own special logo, take out ads. It's a really lovely hosting platform that some of the features are free and some of the features are not free, but quite affordable. My department actually did end up paying for a very basic standard license. It's about $12 a month billed annually. And you can do much more with that, even with that small piece. Vimeo does have some restrictions on the amount of videos per month you can upload on its platform, depending on which type of plan you use. So be aware of that in order to auto-generate those captions. But you can still use Vimeo to post your videos, even if you don't pay for the subscription, and embed those videos on your websites. You can still download or upload your own personal captions file if you have that available, or if you use some of the other systems such as YouTube, Microsoft Stream to create your captions files. You can simply upload that to Vimeo if you wanted to, if that's your preferred streaming mechanism. You can also protect content in Vimeo, private password, unlisted link, public. If you pay for an enterprise subscription, or if your organization has an enterprise subscription, there's potential for single sign-on integration as well. So you have lots of options for customizing how you protect that content as you desire and post it too. That's a bit about Vimeo. And then if you do have the paid subscription, you can edit those captions and timestamps as you desire to. So do check around. When I went to look into Vimeo at my organization, I ended up contacting Vimeo directly to talk to a marketing representative, and didn't realize that somebody at UCSF actually had paid for an enterprise-wide license, and so I was able to connect with them and see if we wanted to combine our efforts and funding for that. So don't work in silos. Reach out to your people within your organization because you might already have great access to great tools without having to pay for it. The fourth system that a lot of folks are using at our organization is Otter AI. And you've probably heard of this one because some UCs have already purchased pro accounts for their whole organization, or integrated in some ways with their with Zoom. And Otter does work a lot with Zoom in providing live transcription services, hence the AI portion of Otter. But you can also use Otter AI after the fact to upload your videos in order to create captions and auto-generate those captions for you. It is not a system that you can post and embed videos. So it's not a YouTube, it's not a Vimeo type place to post and embed videos. It's just to create those transcriptions and captioning services. But you can very easily edit captions once they're in there. You can also download that captions file. They only provide certain file types based on whether or not you have a pro account. So you can get a TXT file for free, a text file. You would have to make sure to have a pro account if you wanted to get that SRT file, which has the timed captions. The option to upload your caption file doesn't exist because it is only exists to create your captions file, but you are able to protect your content. You can collaborate with other people, share your transcriptions with other folks, have collaborators, and provide a link. So that's a bit about Otter. There's a link to Otter AI pricing. Prices vary again based on timing, and make sure again to check if your local UC has enterprise-wide support before you pursue it. Last I saw, a pro license was $9 a month, billed annually with Otter. So here's a nice overview table of those 4 different no-cost captioning options. Again, I kind of laid it out in terms of whether or not you have to get a subscription. You do have to get a subscription, but they are all free except for Microsoft Stream, which hopefully if your organization has Microsoft 365, you already have it. They all except for Vimeo will generate captions at no cost. All except for Otter AI you can post and embed your videos online. All except for Vimeo, you can edit those captions. All except for Otter AI, you can download those caption files all except for Otter. You can upload your captions file if you create your own, and all of them have options to protect your content. If you want to make it, let's say, password protected, private, share the link with only certain people, as opposed to posting it all over the internet. So you don't have to post your specific marketing tool to all of YouTube's subscribers. You can send it a link to your specific clients if you would like to. I'll finish this with a silly thought and a serious one. At UC, accessibility it's our legal responsibility as a public institution where we're not only liable but morally obligated to deliver accurate, complete, equitable video content for our colleagues with disabilities, whether or not you're a deaf, hard of hearing, learning a language, or just going to eat some chips. Universal design with captions helps everyone digest those videos. So that's the information portion of the presentation. I'd love to hear if folks have questions or relevant experience with some of these tools, requests to see inside the systems themselves. I do have these tools open and logged in if you have want to poke around or have questions about what it looks like live. The videos and screen caps are in the deck for you to look at later if you'd like. We have the Q&A open, and I think we have about 15 minutes to play around if we want. Of course, again, thanks for joining me today. I hope this was empowering to your beginning your captioning journey if you were just starting, and a great virtual end to your UC Tech conference. I know they had a really lovely time connecting with folks in person, and it's fun to get online and enjoy our hybrid sessions as well.
So Anna says UC Berkeley's subscription does not include stream. So
oh no!
It must be a checkbox and a fee. Do you want to go ahead and show the Microsoft Stream? Did you say you had it open?
I do. Yeah. So I'm so sorry, Anna, that Berkeley does not have Microsoft Stream. But if you did or would use it, it's a really lovely way to kind of have everything all in one place. My team also uses Microsoft Teams, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? Like all of these systems are integrated into one spot. You can upload things, record things. Once you've uploaded it, it kind of gives you a nice bar that you can review the latest of what you've seen and what you've posted. I can actually share these videos with my colleagues and they can edit them too, which is really nice. And post them. I've actually posted some of these on our UCSF websites in such a way that I know that folks still have to log in with our organization single sign-on in order to view them. So I know it's protected content. Because it is just content for and by our UCSF audiences. And so it is going to take me to my UCSF single sign-on in order to let me make sure that everything is very secure, right? And that sometimes can be a barrier. So if you want things to be, one-click access, you might want to lean more towards those YouTube, Vimeo, options. But if you really want things to be protected and make sure that only people within where you see are looking at this, it might behoove you to look into Stream. So this is the actual video itself. There's a really lovely, easy way to look at the transcript. I can search within the transcript for keywords, and then go right to that spot in the video, and it'll start playing that at that place in the video. It's very easy to just click and edit if I want to do that. And now that's done and shared with everybody at UCSF. And I'm just so amazed at how quick and easy it is to do that. I can update the title, the description. There are options to, if you want to have people comment on the video. You can look at analytics to see how many people have watched this video. People can like or heart to the video.
There's a question. It says, do any of these options allow you to do video editing along with the captions? I've been tinkering with Descript to do both.
Oh, I see. Like if we wanted to chop up the video at the beginning or the end or in the video or in the middle of the video, That's a good question. I haven't played with that as much. I don't think that Stream lets you do that. I think that different uh, versions of Vimeo might let you do that. Otter AI does not because it's just for captioning. YouTube, I don't believe does. But it might be that if it does, you have to get a higher level subscription. Most of what I've seen make it really easy and successful within these tools is to have the video kind of cut to where you want it and then upload it into the system. It's a good question that I'm not 100% sure the answer though. Thank you for these great questions. I'm curious to go look at this now myself. And happily, these are all pretty big brand names, so I'm sure that information is available for us with customer support.
So another question is, which service provides the highest accuracy machine-generated captions in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a great question. I've read a few blogs by folks who are much more expert about this, and in what I've read and in my personal experience as somebody who's gone through these a few different times, YouTube has actually been the most reliable without my having to make too many kind of go back in and edit the accuracy of what it's recorded. Nothing is ever, I feel like, 100% though, especially when it comes to spelling names. So my last name, Frosch, I don't think anybody spells that correctly. So when it comes to proper names, when it comes to kind of inflections, and if you're the kind of person who goes up at the end of sentences for questions and such, you still are going to have to go in and edit it regardless. But I've had the most luck in what I've read and the most accurate representation of what's actually auto-transcribed by the bots. YouTube is the one that I've had the most success with, which isn't surprising, right? It's been the leader in videos for forever. And they've been doing it for a while, and they have a lot of content to refine that tool. Yeah, I would say YouTube is my number one, but your mileage may vary.
Okay, so there's another one. How are the captions for this session being generated? It's doing a pretty good job with punctuation and breaking up the content into sentences. Well, I turned on the captions in Zoom, so I assume it's coming through Zoom.
Yes, the closed captioning is enabled for this event, and it should be shared with participants, and you should be able to see this transcript. I'm not seeing how well it's been doing because I've been talking a lot, but I'd be curious if folks want to pop in the Q&A, if they've been following along, how's it been looking for you? Live transcriptioning is always a little bit of a rodeo, right? A little bit of wild, wild west out there. And because there isn't an actual person who is live recording it, there are always going to be probable mistakes with that. And that's often why when it comes to live events, sometimes it's nice to have a live transcriptor or a sign language interpreter if you want things to be really high fidelity to what you're saying or speaking with.
CJ, I'll chime in here because I can, as opposed to typing in the chat. I've been looking at this since you asked, and the first Andy actually reported that it's doing a pretty good job with punctuation and breaking up the content into sentences. And while you were asking for us to observe and see how it did, I noticed the punctuation looked pretty darn accurate.
Great.
Yeah, question marks at the end of the question, periods, commas. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So this is Zoom's native captioning, I believe.
Awesome. And I'll say I grew up in the Midwest and I took radio courses when I was in college. So my guess is that Zoom is very friendly to folks who have the kind of accent and cadence that I have when I speak. So my guess is that our session is going to be going very well in terms of the live auto closed captioning. That isn't always the case. And when we look at statistics and data of people who are using captioning as learners and as people who are consuming video content, we see that a lot of the times people are using it because they have difficulty with things such as instructors who have a different accent than where they're from, or if there's background noise, for example, or if trying to see if I could find that. There we go. If the audio is muddled, if they're trying to stay focused, oh, if they're trying to learn it. So if it's not their native language for the person who's viewing it, right? So there are things that can get in the way of live transcription working that might not be at play with us right now today that we do want to be mindful of.
So there's a couple chat comments. Does UC Berkeley have any enterprise versions of the products mentioned?
That's a great question. I don't know because I work at UCS staff, but at least 3 of them do have free versions. Except for Microsoft Stream, all of 3 of the other ones do have free versions that you can use in order to create and generate captions without needing access to an enterprise version, and you just can create your own account and log in and use them right away.
Okay, so we got a 5-minute warning in CVent. Okay, another comment is, thank you for this. My team is checking out Otter AI. I didn't know you could edit YouTube generated captions along with download, edit, upload YouTube captions. I'm likely going to go that route.
Awesome.
Another person says, from experience, you can trim the video in YouTube.
Ah, that's great to know. So you can, from the question earlier, can you edit the actual video as opposed to just the text? It sounds like the answer is yes in YouTube. That's good to know.
And then we've reposted the Google URL for the slides. So I hope that works for whoever was asking there.
And CJ, maybe you could go back to your original slide that had the CR code for folks.
The QR code was for the poll. It wasn't.
Oh, so that's for the poll. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I wanted to make a QR code for the slides, but we had a little difficulty figuring out where those should live. So apologies for the lack of deck sharing connectivity today. But
yeah, the link is saying it needs access. So I think there must be another way that we need to upload those.
Okay. Well, be sure to check in with our conference folks to make sure that you have access to that. And feel free to email me or connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to just send you individual permission to the deck as well.
Do you want to post your contact information? Do you have that on a slide?
Oh, sure. Let's see. I can actually just go to directory. I need you. The balmy 63 degrees today in San Francisco, everyone. My email is cj.frosch@ucsf.edu. It's also in the attendees hub. If you go to the attendees hub for UC Tech, my profile has my contact information for email as well as my LinkedIn profile if you'd like to go there. cj.frosch@ucsf.edu. And I believe it's linkedin.com/CJ Frosch. Oh, you know what? I put it on the slide. You're right. You're right. I did put it on the slide.
Okay, very good.
The very first.
Probably got about a minute and a half before this is going to drop us.
And there it is. LinkedIn CJ Frosch, F-R-O-S-C-H, which in German means frog, if that helps you remember. Okay, so it sounds like we had that 1 minute warning. Are there any last questions or items that I didn't address? Well, thank you so much, and I hope this is a great end for your UC Tech. Happy captioning. Thank you for being a digital ally to your colleagues at UCs across the world, across California. Any other facilitator announcements we have?
Survey, please do the survey if you can. The survey, they like to look at your comments. So survey, please.
And I want to say thank you, CJ. That was great.
Yes, it really was. Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you sharing with us all.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, and have a really
Okay.
lovely
Nice working
afternoon.
with you.
Bye-bye.
All right.